Dumaguete.
Hello, Negros Oriental.
Hello, Sillimanians around the world.
This is Joshua Soldivillo.
And this is Ronelyn Faith Vailoces.
You're watching #Silliman.
For #Silliman updates, the Department of Science and Technology Science Education Institute is now accepting applications for the 2022 Junior Level Science Scholarships via the eScholarship application system. All incoming regular third-year college students for the school year 2022-23 taking up DOST-identified priority science and technology courses in Negros Oriental may apply. To apply, take note of the link found on the screen, that is https://jlss.science-scholarships.ph. The deadline for the application is July 31st, and the qualifying examination is on August 27th to 28th. For more information, visit Silliman University's official Facebook page.
In celebration of World Press Freedom Day, the American Corner Dumaguete Silliman University successfully held a 3-day summit on media and information literacy, empowering citizens through right and truthful information on June 15 to 17, 2022. The summit culminated with a community-based activity at Balugo, Sibula, Negros Oriental on June 20, 2022.
Good work, guys! And for our last news item, the Silliman University is calling for entries of the logo and t-shirt design for the 121st Founders Day celebration. Get the chance to design Silliman University's logo for its 121st Founders Day and win a cash prize of 10,000 pesos and a plaque of recognition. The contest is open to all Silliman University faculty, staff, students, and alumni. Each contestant must submit only one entry. The deadline for all entries is on July 16, and you may visit Silliman University's official website, www.su.edu.ph, for more information.
See you next week for another set of #Silliman updates. Good evening, everyone. This is a magazine program that talks about different aspects of Silliman University.
A program initiated to discuss matters concerning the campus by the sea. Welcome to
#Silliman.
Mayong gabi sa tanan. Thank you for watching #Silliman, and we feel the love and support online. Continue to support us in those platforms, and we are thankful because we are already in our many episodes, and we have increasing followers on our YouTube channel. It's called #Silliman. Well, they say that communication is a very integral part of our human affairs, governance, technology, and many more. But joining us tonight are people who will be talking about communication as a product, communication as a process, and communication as part of our daily lives. Joining us is one of the faculty members of the Silliman University English and Literature Department. Allow me to introduce Assistant Professor J. Maxino.
Hello.
We also have here with us a student of the College of Mass Communication. Actually, she is a fresh graduate, and she graduated cum laude.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Hannah Patricia Abril.
Hello. It's a pleasure to be here.
And of course, we have the Dean of the College of Mass Communication. We have Dr. Madeline Quiamco. Good evening, Dean, and welcome to #Silliman.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you for having us.
All right. So to begin our conversation, I just want to bring up this topic because on June 10, the Malacanang Palace, together with the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, or the NCAA, or the NCCA rather, and together with the Cultural Center of the Philippines, they actually announced new additions to the roster of national artists, and part of which are actually Nora Honor, Ricky Lee, Marilo Diaz Abaya, and Jimeno Abad. No, these are actually national artists for literature, for broadcast, and even for film. So on this regard, I just want to know the relevance of your academic offerings in your own department. And I think some names actually ring a bell. Assistant Professor Maxino.
Couple of names there were involved with the Silliman University National Writers Workshop. So Sir Jimmy Abad is one of our regular panelists, and Sir Ricky Lee was also a fellow back in 1970, if I'm not mistaken. So it's good to see, and we're really happy at the department to know that they were awarded these titles for national artists.
How about for the College of Mass Communication, ma'am? How does it feel that some people in your field are being recognized and even being celebrated?
Oh, it's a good thing. I have heard that these guys have always been nominated, and they have not had the award. And so now that they have it, then that's a good thing. I think, following your question about how relevant it is, or how is our academic program relevant to this question, I immediately thought about, is there an issue? And if there is an issue, the role of communication there is to make it clear to the people what is the issue and who are raising it, and so on, so that people will understand and they will be able to make the decisions intelligently.
Wow.
I'd like to ask Hannah, when you first enrolled or chose mass communication to be your course in college, what are the common misconceptions that you hear or you heard from people?
Oh, I've heard a lot of misconceptions about mass comm. First is that mass commistas are mga chismosos or the chismosas.
The marites.
Or the mga marites
And Marisol.
Yes.
Is that
But-
true?
Well, although that we rejoice in knowing that quality, that we have that quality because we can have the latest chicas around the campus. But in all honesty, mass comm is actually more than just that. Another misconception is that we are más comportable and that our course is really easy. But because all we do is just read, write, and talk. But we do more than just that. Mass comm is more than that. Lastly, another misconception I believe is that mass communication is that we just belong in the newsroom. But again, mass comm is we are more than just journalism. Yes.
How about for the AB English and creative writing?
There's a lot of misconceptions. The first is people think that we only offer creative writing. We actually have 3 branches under the AB English program. That's the English language studies, then we have literature, and then creative writing. And under English language studies and literature, we also have 2. So there's English across the professions, etc. We have that. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
And people think, okay, AB English gig. People think of it as a bridge course sometimes. Like if they don't make it into their preferred course, they decide on English as a bridge and then pass the subjects and then go to their
Shift
desired
again,
course.
okay.
Yeah, shift to that. But when they get to our department, then they realize
know,
that it's not as easy as they think. You know, it's not the sulat-sulat lang. No, it's not at all. I mean, writing is hard.
True.
That alone, you can't just say sulat-sulat lang because it's so hard to translate your thoughts on print. No? And I think that's a huge misconception there. And another is that we don't have very many career opportunities, but I think we can talk about that a little later. Yeah.
So, Dr. Quiamco, we're talking about now about misguided impressions, misconceptions. So, once and for all, in a nutshell, how would you describe mass communication as a course and probably as a profession na lang din?
Technically, mass communication is the transmission of ideas, concepts, even feelings to others effectively and through certain media or channels. And these are, as we know, the conventional ones are newspaper, television, and radio. And now we have the almighty new media. So, that is mass communication, and that's it's toward large groups of people. Okay, so the name mass communication is communicating to large groups of people, and there are many measures of success for that. One is is your communication effective? Have you gotten the group to do what you want them to do? And the other thing is, are they understanding what you are trying to convey?
So it's a multifaceted field.
It is, and because it's human, it's difficult to put a finger on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How about for AB English? What is AB English creative writing in a nutshell?
Oh gosh. It's so
Or
hard to speak for
maybe-
all three separately.
Maybe just the major differences, because you said there are three.
Yes, we have. So for AB English language, we focus more on language. What makes language as it is. So we study things like semantics, syntax, things that we study to pursue linguistic competence. Now to understand why language works that way and why it evolves that way. Why you can't just say, oh, it's right because it sounds right. You should be able to explain it. Okay. So mostly the language programs leans more towards language studies and teaching as well. So we have some education courses. I was a product of the language program as well as the literature program. So I can really see the difference between the two. So for literature, we have literary research, and it's closer to creative writing. But for creative writing, you produce creative works rather than really just study it for criticism's sake and research's sake. So you learn to produce that. Those are the three branches that we have.
All right. So, Hannah, I'd like to ask you, because definitely in the region and in the country, there are a lot of institutions that are also offering perhaps AB Mass Communication or in different majors. In your own experience, what is the unique characteristic of our academic program in Silliman University? What's the distinguishing characteristic of being in Silliman?
Being in Silliman, it's, how do I describe it in just a few words or in words? But during the past 4 years being here in Silliman, it's more than just being in a classroom. The way of learning is more than the four walls in the classroom, because we are taught to go beyond than what is being taught to us, especially in the College of Mass Communication. In my personal experience, we have to go outside the classroom. We have to go outside the campus, to go in police stations or the city hall to get the latest community news so that we could write it on our news writing subject. So yeah, it's so I have never thought that I could experience being outside together with my classmates and come back to the classroom to write the latest news and pass it on. Like, you have to really rush through the deadlines, because news, you have to be on the spot, on time, right? Yeah. Another is that in Silliman, we are very involved in extracurricular activities. It's not that you are forced to, but because your classmates are really involved in organizations, so you want, or you're inspired to join it as well. Like in the College of Mass Communication, we have our very own academic organization, the Kapunungan sa mga Mass Communicators. We have KMC, and in KMC we have we are trained actually by our instructors and our alumni and our seniors, from our seniors, to organize big events for the campus, like the Silliman Idol. That is proudly KMC.
That's organized pala. I just learned about that.
It is the annual singing contest of Silliman, and it is KMC who organized that. Those are students who are actually running around in malls to organize the venue and everything else.
But Hannah, listening to you, it seems that you're doing a lot of things. How about the balance? Is it like a demanding course? Is there still a slot for love life in the College of Mass Communication?
Of course.
Yes.
Coming from Ronelyn.
Coming from our teacher.
Alright, Hannah, it's your time. Sorry.
Actually, it's already our lifestyle as a student that, aside from the academics, we are pushed, or we are encouraged by our teachers to go and do those activities.
Encouraged to fight that.
We find love life along the way.
Wow,
Some are blessed by that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not. I just think I'm not.
All right.
But yes, there's a balance.
Yeah, I really understand, because in mass communication, you really have to beat deadlines, because the news today is history tomorrow. Now,
Yes.
let's talk about career opportunities. What are the career opportunities waiting for, especially for Hannah, because she is a fresh grad, waiting for the graduates of mass communication and AB English and literature?
Okay, so I like that question because I can tell you the broad and deep set of opportunities for the mass comm graduate. Once I asked a student, why are you taking mass comm? And he said, well, it's the course that will allow me to choose what I want to do. And it's partly true. Anyway, the careers that graduates of, I'm not making this up, graduates of the past 50 years, they are in mass media, of course, corporate, government, non-government, academic, religious, and other sectors. Okay, so they can be graduates of our program, can be excellent journalists, photojournalists, editors in print, broadcast, and new media, multimedia content developers, videographers, vloggers, columnists or opinion writers, those that are getting sued, and independent providers of communication services and products. I want to stress this because our curriculum wants also to develop not just practitioners in communication, but entrepreneurs as well. So if you got the money, then go out and
You can engage into
yes,
entrepreneurship.
yeah, and okay, so there's others, public information or media relations officers, social science researchers, professors like me, and education managers.
Right, so I
Yeah.
think that is, Ron, more than being able to relay the information, they're also being trained, to be guardians of truth, freedom, and of course,
Oh, yes.
democracy. I'm also interested about the career pathways that can be pursued by students in your academic programs, as Professor Maxino.
I don't know if you've seen the musical Avenue Q, but there's a song there that asks, "What do you do with a BA in English?" Okay. And so there's a song that asks that, and the thing is, even though these three branches under the AB English program are so different in what they address, we aim at teaching other than linguistic competence. What's more important is we aim to teach communicative competence. So you know what to say, when to say it, where and why, how. Yeah, and that teaches you to be able to manipulate and use language in the way that you intend as either a speaker or a writer. And when you have that ability, then you really can do whatever you want with that. You can pursue various careers. So let's say pre-law. It's a great pre-law course. Many of my lawyer friends now were with me for creative writing and literature subjects. And then we have editing. You can go into editing. For our new curriculum, we actually encourage our students to go into publishing houses. Okay, so you can also intern at publishing houses. You can go into testing, like IELTS. If you take the IELTS, you need testers.
True.
People who take AB English have an advantage to apply for positions like that. There's also, of course, writing, so creative writers. And that's important. I think people always see English as something leisurely, but we underestimate how important the arts are. I'd like to quote Ermita. It's a novel by F. Chunil Jose. In that novel, there's a character who says, there is nothing in the world that an artist cannot recreate, or to ennoble or in a poetic way. I paraphrase. Now, why do we read these things? So, and I believe in your class, somebody asked me that question as well. Why do we read these things? Well, we read these things even though, okay, they don't help us with our business skills, our technical skills, all those other skills that you see as practical, but it's in the humanities, and it teaches you about humans, okay? So when you read these things, you read about yourselves, you understand, and as I paraphrase from that character, we clarify ourselves so that we can live with ourselves. During the pandemic, when we turn to the scientists for the vaccines, right? But we
Right.
turn to the artists to maintain our mental health,
Yeah.
right? So that's a very important thing that we should never forget. No?
Right.
When-
And I think there is this, a sense of flexibility and let's say versatility as well when it comes to career opportunities. We're just going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk about the principles or say works in your own fields and how is this related to social issues, even the talks of climate change, even terrorism, all of that and more when #Silliman returns. Welcome back. You're still watching #Silliman. Before we paused for a break, we actually asked them about how do you use your fields as instruments, or if not, say, catalysts in addressing social challenges, like in the talks of, say, public health concerns like the pandemic, or even climate change, or even terrorism, or say, social media hate, or let's say fake news, disinformation. Probably we can start with Dean Quiamco.
Yeah, I would just say the role of communication in dealing with issues in environment, public health, terrorism is to help people first understand, no? Before they they make a move, then they probably should understand it, and that's the role of communicators, to make things clear to them.
I just want to expand that discussion, Hannah, because Dean Quiamco was talking about your role in communicating these issues and making them enlightened with this.
Yes.
So far, what do you think are the barriers when it comes to the reception to the mass, to the public of this information, as far as your experience is concerned?
Well, I believe it's how one of the barriers, I believe, is what we see on our social media. Like the disinformation is really overwhelming, especially in what we see on our screens and what we hear from other people, especially from our relatives during the pandemic and during the elections, and about certain issues, national issues. So we can hear fake news and disinformation all around us, and sometimes it really it gets confusing to know what is the truth. But as a communication student who is trained to know the truth and to speak the truth, it is important to find the sources, the credible sources, and you have to really know if what your relative or someone from social media is saying is true. So breaking those barriers is one of those challenges. And the good thing in mass communication here in Silliman University, we are actually taught, it is our subject about environmental journalism and about risk and humanitarian communication, which is taught by Ms. Mamronsky. And then like we are really trained for that. And we hope that we can, break those barriers to our fellow people who aren't majoring in communication and who is always on their screens and receiving new information on a daily basis.
Okay, wonderful, Hannah.
Your question requires an audience research, Josh, because you will be talking about the barriers when it comes to the receiving of information, no? And I think, if I may answer, because I also belong to the communications field, no? One of the barriers, I think there is a theory. I think it's confirmation bias. You can give people facts, but if it doesn't, it is not in line with their principles, with their concepts, you cannot do something about it. You cannot convince people who don't want to listen to you. So that's one of the barriers, but it's up for another research topic.
Yes.
For those who want to pursue a master's degree in communication, you can have that as a thesis topic.
Yeah.
But I think these discussions, should be translated into digestible and simple terms. And I think this is a very interesting topic.
Okay. Hannah, let me ask you, what are the highlights of being a mass communication student? And the same question goes to J-Max.
So many things. It's really memorable. As a mass communication student, you are really trained to be aware of the latest issues, especially in the national issues in the country, and not just in the country, in an international level, and how is that relevant to you and to the people around you, and how can you give that certain information to the mass, to the public. Another highlight is that you're trained to write in a way, to digest information and to write it or to tell it in a way that, yes, like children or even high school students can understand. And another highlight is that here, particularly in Silliman, it's not just about journalism, but it is also about public relations, marketing, advertising. So we are also involved to corporate communication. So it's not just journalism. We are also trained to be artistic in a way that we can create concepts that can help companies and to market their certain products. So it's a really broad course, a really broad major that is really relevant and relevant nowadays, especially that we are in the digital era.
Right. Dean Quiamco, would you like to add some experiences that you designed for your students to experience in the College of Mass Communication?
Or perhaps your most memorable moments with your students,
Yeah.
Dean.
most memorable moment.
Yeah.
There's a lot. The sermon on the
Yung
on the
sermon
mount.
talaga. Okay.
It's well, my students, I hope they can forgive me when they leave here. But I do engage in sermons that have nothing to do with skills development. It's more attitude.
Yeah.
And I think that's an act of, that you care for the
Yeah,
students.
true.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good way of understanding it. But yeah, what I'm saying is it's not enough that they learn skills.
Yeah, important.
One other important ingredient for success is the attitude. If they already feel that they know everything, then what's the point in being here? That's one of the many things that I have forced myself to discuss with them, because sometimes they forget about it, and when they get out of Silliman, that will be another story. People in mass comm can probably understand, but the employer will not.
All right.
Okay, so, or the client will not. So that's what you call it, a highlight.
Or most memorable.
How about you, Assistant Professor Maxino?
When I was a student, I think what was more memorable for me was being a student in language rather than in literature, because we had the opportunity to be immersed in other cultures. We have what we call the English orientation program, as well as the the intensive English program, and we work together with various schools abroad, including Korea and Japan.
Partnerships.
Yes, partnerships. And then we also have some students who just enroll here. They want to study in Silliman, and to do so, if they're non-native English speakers, they have to go through the EO program. So we really do get to understand a bit more about their culture. And I think it's an edge to be in the AB English program, because I didn't appreciate this then, but then you realize when you graduate, like, holy cow, I'm so much better at expressing myself than when I first started. And that worked for me, because that was what got me sent on an exchange program abroad to Kokusai Kiristukyo Daigaku, or International Christian University in Tokyo.
Okay.
So that was one of the best things that happened to me as a student of the program.
Wow. So I think this is also an opportunity to you to be culturally educated, or cultural exposure.
Yeah. But more importantly, I think you learn, because you're exposed to so much and so many different people, you learn to be a bit more empathetic.
Yes.
And that's such an important trait to have as a person. You have to be empathetic and more critical of yourself and your views, so that you can improve yourself.
Aside from the competence and skills that you actually acquire in the long run.
Yeah, Josh, so much about the highlights. Let's ask about the plans and preparations for the mid-year. Dean, what are the plans and preparations for the mid-year with the College of Mass Communication?
The mid-year will be face-to-face.
Okay.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Usually, in fact, every year, the mid-year or the summer term is always for internship, and that's because we want to get students into host organizations, and they do it full time, like a work experience. So they do not enroll in any other course. Like they work there 8 to 5, whatever the hours of the organization are, and that's our focus. And besides that, we have a couple of trainings. Oh, incidentally, was that campus journalism? Yeah, that's an old
Summer Institute
training course that we offer high school students and their advisors. And there's another one that I'm planning to develop, and it's leadership communication. It's a kind of communication that a good leader should be able to do, and it can be covered in a short training.
Will this be open to the public, Dr. Quiamco?
I'm really not sure.
Yes.
You want it open? Oh, yeah,
Okay.
probably.
That's
can
exciting,
be.
no? I think that's also a needed training for our barangay, municipal, and of course local
Yeah.
leaders.
Yeah, because we had that in Manila, and many people many groups in fact have subscribed to that.
Okay. How about at the English department, Assistant Professor Maxino? So you're one of the busiest during the mid-year and the start of the year.
Yeah, we have a lot planned. Other than the regular programs that we're offering, I hope that this year we'll pull the certificate programs out of suspension. So we also offer certificate programs at the Department of English and Literature. But for the next few months, we're really focusing on the National Writers Workshop. We hope to start on the 27th of June, and that'll end on the 8th of July. We have I think we have 6 lectures that will be open to the public. And of course, if you would like to be part of the workshop, you can apply for next year's workshop. And then we have, of course, INTEP and EO. We have all of those. And maybe for a little bit later in the year, we also have the Sans and Choral, which is the official literary folio of the university. So we have a lot.
Okay. Yeah, so much about the mid-year program. How about for the next school year?
My gosh, 2022 to 2023. My goodness.
Hoping that, the COVID-19 cases won't increase.
Yes, and maybe you can also walk us through the admission process as well as the admission requirements, Dean.
Okay, so let me look at my my notes. Because the first semester is usually we're very very organized in this. Even the students are in batches, in regular batches, which I really admire. Not like in the previous school where everybody is any level, no. But in Silliman, most, if not all, are of the same level, same batch actually. So you could practically watch them go up the ladder, the four steps, and the offerings, of course, are expected to be. The first semester will have every year every level would be different. Like the first level would have many GE courses. Then the second level will have some majors already, no? Until the third and the fourth. These are really available in the Silliman website. Yeah, okay, and that's how it goes. It's like developing their skills. No, first the general education things, and then they go
The
into their majors.
specialization.
Yes.
But do you have, are you strand specific, especially those who are finishing from senior high school? Do you accept STEM students, ABM, UMS, or the GAS?
We're not strand specific. We take everybody. In fact, the selection happens after they have enrolled. Well, I shouldn't say that, no. but no, we are not. We don't have an
You're
exam.
open
yeah,
admission.
we're open.
Okay.
Yeah. The grades are, for as long as they are admitted by Silliman, then we admit them. Okay. But when they are in our college, they should maintain something like 2.7 for courses, for majors, communication majors, courses, and English and speech. They should be they should be above average in that.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not really that difficult, Hannah.
And of course, you have to check out our website. It's www.sc.edu.ph. But how about in the in the English and Literature department? And maybe you can briefly walk us through in your university graduate programs as well.
Whew, okay, that's a lot. So for the undergrad program, we award a degree in AB English, but we have 5 majors. There's English Language Studies, English across the professions, literary and cultural studies, literature across the professions, and creative writing. Then we have our masters in English language as TESOL, and literary studies, and then we also have creative writing, and then our PhD in English.
English.
So those are our graduate programs. We're not strand specific. We accept all who are interested. However, we do have the requirement that all of the senior high subjects, English senior high subjects like CW, CNF, EAPP, RDL, RWS, you have to have at least 88% at the time of application.
Okay.
Each one of those subjects has to have reached 88%. And then if you are a transferee, well, it's really a case-to-case basis, but I think the maintaining grade is around 2.5, 3.0 equivalent. But you have to, for example, for the creative writing program, if you are a transferee, sometimes the chairperson asks you for a portfolio or a writing sample for you to be admitted into the program. But for the incoming freshies, we accept anyone as long as you make the grade.
So I think it's the beauty of these colleges, Ronald. They have an open admission, and we invite you to be part of their colleges and department. They have exciting career opportunities. And speaking of exciting, we're having a combination of this interview with a fast talk. All right. So Ms. J, Hannah, and Dean Quiamco, you don't have to think too hard of the options. Just have to say your choice right away. Okay?
Okay.
Sige.
Start
So, okay?
Like this, that.
Let's start with you, Ms. J. It's not in the list, but I want to know. Is it the language program or literature program?
Literature.
Okay, that's easy.
Hannah, hibalag or buglasan?
Definitely hibalag.
Dean Quiamco, is it day or night?
Night.
Night.
Assistant Professor Maxino, love or career?
Oh, career.
Okay.
I felt the pain.
I think all of them should answer that question.
Okay, Hannah.
Love or career?
Love.
Dean.
At this stage in my life, career.
I'll say by life stages pala ito. Okay. All right. Miss J, beach or the mountains?
Beach.
Hannah, are you a night owl or an early bird?
A night owl.
Dean Quiamco, is it the summer or the rainy days?
Summer.
J-Max, movies or series?
Movies.
Okay, Hannah, what are the 3 best spots or places at the university?
The OH.
That's Oriental Hall?
Yeah, Oriental Hall. The amphitheater. And the SU library.
Okay.
Dean, 3 reasons why enroll in mass communication.
You are going to exercise your
Critical thinking?
brain.
That's one.
There's a lot of opportunities
Yeah.
out there. And you meet many exciting people in mass comm.
Okay.
Okay.
Miss J, 3 favorite reads.
Oh gosh. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes.
Okay.
Ermita by F. Chanel Jose. Oh my gosh. I know people don't count this, but I am in love with Without Seeing the Dawn by Stevan
Okay.
Haveliana.
I haven't read
All of
them.
those.
I think there's a copy here. You have to read
We
that.
look forward to
Okay,
reading.
sige.
That's about the
All of
Japanese
them.
occupation.
Hannah, Silliman University is complete the sentence.
Is dynamic.
Dean, Silliman University is
Peaceful.
Yes. Let's be ambassadors
peaceful.
of peace.
Yeah, true. J-Max?
Me?
Yeah.
Silliman is
Home.
home. Thank you very much again, Assistant Professor J. Maxino. Hannah, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Dean Quiamco, thank you so much for saying yes for this conversation. And we have now come to the last segments of the show. It's called #WTP or Word to Ponder. So Ron, what's the word that you've picked for this episode?
I'd like to ponder on the word communication, Josh.
Okay.
Because it comes from the Latin word, correct me if I'm wrong or if I forgot it, but it comes from the Latin word communicare, which means to share. And when we share something, we build connections. And that is why communication is the essence of human life. It is because it will either when you communicate, it's not just about what you say, but it's also about how you say it. So it means that it can either make or break a person, and if it can make or break a person, it can make or break a country. So it's very important for us to communicate not just effectively, but also efficiently. How about you, Josh?
Well, I think I will be at the other line. No? It should be listen or listening. Because I know that listening is more than allowing the sound waves travel through your eardrums, but it really takes a lot. It's actually a multi-layered, a multifaceted process also that you have to receive all of this information. So in social media, there's a lot of noise in there, even in our surroundings, and there's a lot of things happening, may it be political or economic. So I think all we have to do is to pause and listen. So ladies and gentlemen, let's listen.
And communication is not just all about speaking. It's
But
a
also
process
listening.
of listening.
Right. So on that note, thank you very much for joining our episode tonight, and to God be the glory. Listen. Hey there, Sillimanians! Daghang salamat for joining and supporting #Silliman. We have a Facebook page. It's called #Silliman. Please like, subscribe, and follow, comment, share to your friends our weekly contents. And we also have a YouTube channel. It's called #Silliman. Don't forget to click the notification bell for you to be updated with our recent posts. See you there.
And catch us at Fail Products Channel 6 every Monday at 8 p.m. And replays will be shown every Tuesday before the noontime news and every Saturday after the noontime news. This has been Ronelyn Faith Vailoces
And Joshua Soldivillo. See you next week only here on
#Silliman.
Silliman. Bye!